similar figures. This is the second to last lesson. There's one more tomorrow. So, all right. It is. It's really long. Today's going to be a lot about shapes. It's going to feel like we're kind of in a geometry unit a little bit, but we're not. We're still going to be setting up proportions. So, don't freak out. First vocab word I have is this. It's up to you. Probably need to know what similar means. Looks the same. Hmm? Not if you pay attention. No. So similar means the same shape, okay? But it doesn't always mean it's the same size, okay? So today we're going to be dealing with shapes, and two of the same shapes that look like this. One's going to be smaller and one's most likely going to be just a little bigger, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to find a missing side length. So they're going to give us some side lengths of these figures, and there's going to be something that's missing, and we need to find out what it is. And we can use that because if it's similar, if they're similar figures, what are they already in? They're in proportion. So we can use proportions to figure out what we're missing. Okay? So it's kind of like yesterday. You're going to know one thing, and then you got to solve for something else. My other vocab word I have for you is this. Corresponding parts. Angles and sides in the same position. If I look at these two triangles up here that are similar, what angle corresponds with letter A? D. What angle corresponds with letter C? F, and B would be E. So that leads me to my next point, is that when you have two figures, and this is kind of, what's that? It's up to you. You can just listen if you want. And we'll probably see this more in geometry. But when you have two figures like this, and you need to say they're similar, remember I said we're going to, I guess my last slide I had this as a symbol. Okay, that means similar. That means in proportion. Okay, so let's say I'm going to say these two things are in proportion. I have triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF. And if you look, do I have in the same order, this is in the same order as this one over here. Do you see that? Because I have to say the corresponding parts in the same order as I did in the first one. Does that make sense? That's why this one over here is incorrect, because look at this one. I have B corresponding with D. Well, is that true? There's B and there's D. Okay? That's why this one's incorrect. So if I would want, I was supposed to have E there. Here I would have D, and here I would have F. So when you say something is similar, you have to make sure that you put it in the correct order. All right? And that's going to help you too, because today what they're going to do, and I did not show this to the last class, so I hope somebody gets on my video and watches it tonight. They're going to say something like this: triangle ABC is similar to triangle, that's supposed to be a triangle, triangle DEF. And then they're going to say, okay, well, side length AB is 10, side length DE is 5, side length BC is 2. Well, what's side length EF? And they might say, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do that. Here's what you need to do. Draw a picture. First, you're going to draw a picture. Draw a picture of this one. A, B, C. Got it? Then draw a picture of the next one. D, E, F. And it's really important to keep everything corresponding. So if side length, or side AB is here, you put here, side length DE, is that DE? Sorry, would be 5. If BC is 2, I want to know what EF is. And then we're going to solve for what it would be. It would be 1, actually. Oh, no, it would be 1. Divide by 5 would be 1. And that's what I'm going to show you how to solve this in a little bit. Okay, but if they give you, they're going to give you something like this. They're going to say triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF. Side length this is this, side length this is this, side length this is this. I want to know what this one is. So then draw your picture. But when you do that, you got to make sure everything's corresponding the way they want. Because if it's not, guess what? Your picture's not going to turn out right, and neither is your answer then. Okay, and this might make a little more sense when I show you what we're going to do here in a little bit. I just wanted to get that in so I didn't forget. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to figure if these two things are similar or not. Okay, they look like it because, number one, they look like they're the same shape. But we're going to figure out if they're actually similar or not. So the first thing I'm going to do, I want to figure out what sides correspond here. What sides correspond with what? What side corresponds with 48 up here? What number over there corresponds with 48? Yep, 42. Okay, and 24, and some people are like, well, why is this? Why do they correspond? Well, look at it. If I would flip it like this, and then flip it like that, is it going to be in the exact same order that this one is here? Okay, so just because they're in a different place doesn't mean that they don't still correspond. So now my job is to set up a proportion. Now you can do this how many different ways? There's at least 4 ways you can set up a proportion for this. What I like to do is I like to label mine number 1 and number 2. Okay? And then what I do is on one side of my proportion, I put these two numbers. Okay? So on one side, I put 24 over 48. On my other side, what am I going to put then? What corresponds with 24? Yeah, then 20 over 42. To see if these are similar or in proportion, what can I do to that? I can reduce them. What else? I can cross multiply. I could divide, but they're not. They are not. The reason why I know is because I can reduce this to half, and guess what? That doesn't reduce to half. So I know these two things aren't similar. They look like they are, but they're not because those side lengths are there. So this is just kind of to get us kind of finding what's similar. Pretty soon they're going to say, okay, this is, I don't know what this is. Figure out what that is. And then you can use your cross multiplying again. Yep, doing exactly what you did yesterday and the day before that and probably the day before that. So questions so far? So if it's something like this, you would write not similar. Yep. All right, now let me show you exactly what's going to show up in your book today. They're going to give you two similar triangles, and they're going to be similar because you're finding a missing side. Okay, so there's no yes or no in this case. So my job is to find out what x and what y are on that triangle. And I know you already know it, but I need to show you how to set it up just in case you can't do it in your head. Okay? So the first thing I would do is I find out what corresponds here. What are some things that correspond? 21 and x, 18 and y, 5 and 15. Or, you could do it like I did before and then say, okay, on A, I'm going to do these, and B, I'm going to do those. So it's up to you how you want to set things up here. Just remember, what you do on one side, you have to do on the other. So let's solve for x first. Let's solve for x first. What's something you know up here that you... Okay. 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 Okay, I can do that. But let's set up a proportion. Okay? So what's something you know up here? What are two side lengths that you know? 21, 15. Sure, we can start that way. 21 over 15. So if these two correspond, what corresponds over here? If these two correspond, no, x and 5, right? Because what corresponds with 21? So then this side's going to be x over 5. Then I solve. There's so many ways I can do this. I could set it up like this. I could do 15 over 5 over 21 over x. Do you see how I did that? Like this one, I went from two different triangles. This one I stayed on the same triangle. 18 over 15. Yep, I could do y over 5 to solve for my y. X would be 7. Correct. And 18 would be 6. Yes. Yep, that's when you just solve. Jacqueline. What's that? Just tell me what x and tell me what y are. Yep. That's what I'm doing. So seriously, you guys, there's so many ways to set up a proportion for here. What Dylan does and what Rain does might be two totally different things. Like today, I was helping, Kaylee and I were working together in the Success Center during study hall. She set up her proportions up way different than I would ever set them up. But you know what? It worked. She was doing, remember Scale Factor yesterday? This is what she did. So let's say your scale factor was 1 inch to 24 feet, kind of like it was on that problem. 1 inch to 24 feet. That's how I would have set it up, is equal to like 2 inches over x. That's how I would have set it up. This is what she did. 1 inch equals 24 feet. 2 inches equals, yeah, she just flipped it sideways. And it worked. So, what you do and what somebody else did might be 100% different. And that's okay as long as you get the same answer. Okay? Questions for me yet? Doing okay? All right, let's try another one. Let's try another one. So I have A and B. Why don't you set it up the way you would set it up? And then we'll talk about it. You set it up the way you would set it up. 30 over 12. No. Nope, because they don't correspond at all. You could do 30 over 10, yep. And remember, what you do on one side, you have to do on the other. So if you do 30 over 10, you did A first, then you'd have to do A first on the other side of that proportion. You could do x over 12. Yeah, you could do 30 over 10 equals x over 12. You could do 10 over 30 equals 12 over x. You could do 30 over x equals 10 over 12. Oh my gosh, there's 3 right there. Ah! You should be able to do this one in your head. Nope, should be a full number. I don't think you're going to know many of these in your head today. Okay, so what's one way you set it up? Carver, give me what you did.
I did 30 over 10.
Okay, so hold on. Let's look at this. See how he did 30 over 10? That means on the other side, he had to go back and do A first and then do B on the bottom. Okay, so what you do on this side, you got to do on the other side. Rain, did you set up different? So you did 10 over 12. And on this side, you have to do this one first because that corresponds to 30 over x. Yep. Anybody do anything different? Dylan?
30 over 10.
Equals what? Nope. Nope. The reason why. You did 30 over 12. Yes, you have to do what goes first. So if you put A first and then B, you have to do A first and then B over here. Okay? In your homework today, there's going to be some that look like this. So what is this? Let's do this. Like this 9. Okay? In your homework today, it's what in the world? Oh. Okay, so in your homework today, it's going to look something like this. They're going to give you side links for almost all of them, but they're about that one. Now, my other class was like, well, do I have to use all those? No, you don't have to use all those. Yeah, just pick one, like your 30 over 10 and your 12 over x, or your x over 12, and solve. You don't have to worry about 9 and 3. You could do 9 over 3 is equal to x over 12. I mean, you can pick whatever you want out of there. You don't have to use all of those by any means. Pick one that's easy for you. What's that? They're just giving you more options for that one side to set up. Exactly right. They're giving you more options for one side. Okay? Any questions on that? No? All right. Solve this for me. And I'm going to ask you what you did to set stuff up. Yep. So I have A, B, 9, 10, 18, 14. See, I want you to make sure you have an example in your notebook.
I do.
That's fine, but in homework today, you probably won't have anything you can do much in your head. Not many. Just to let you know. There's so many ways. But don't make it so you have two things missing on one side because you can't solve that. Like, don't do like a over b equals 10 over 14. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, good luck. So you have to have only one thing missing. You can't do two things missing. Which one are you talking about? A or B? What are you talking about? Mm. Right. Oh, I was wondering what she was asking me. Yes, yes. Yep. Seriously, so many ways you can set it up. Just make sure what you do on one side you do on the other, and what you do has to correspond with something exactly on the other side. It depends what it's asking you. Some might only ask you for one side length. This one's just asking for two. Like this one, just asks for one. Why? This one's asking for two. This is like two problems in one. Mhm. All right, so let's look for A. What did you do to set things up to look for A, Dylan? A over 10. Yep, 9 over 18. That works. Is there another way you did A? Anybody? Larissa? Okay, Rain? Okay. Or A over 9. Very good. That works too. I mean, there's so many ways, you guys. And then you know what? You could even flip those if you want to. That's 4 ways you could solve for A. No, that'd be about it. But so A should be 5 and B should be 14 if you're 7. One last thing I do want to show you is this, though, okay? So in your homework today, they're going to give you some shapes that are similar, but look what happened to them. They're flipped. They're flipped. They're not transparent. Yeah, they are, but they're flipped. Okay? What? Yeah. Clear, transparent.
I can see enough. Yes. Now later. You're still beyond the point.
Okay, are you ready now? Okay. So you're going to be given two shapes, and you know what? They might be flipped. So you might have something that looks like this. Or it might look like this. Actually, it would look like this. So you got to think in your head, if I would flip this, then what? What corresponds with what then? 3 and 7 do. And you know what? They might add 6 more numbers. I don't know. So if they do this, you still flip it in your head or redraw it. Yeah, I just made them up. Sorry, I just made them up. So please be careful when you have something like this. Honestly, draw things if you need to redraw things. I already know in like 9, you're going to want to redraw things. I already know in 10, you're going to want to draw it because you aren't going to be able to do it in your head. Trust me. Redraw it. 6 over x and 10 over 9. Yeah, that would work. That would work. Yep. And then you know what? You don't even need to use these side ones, did you? You didn't even need to use them. Just find one and use it for one side.
So 10, 9 is equal to 6.
That would work. Then you don't even got to worry about those sides being flipped. So you did side ones. Everybody has their own preference. It's what everybody sees first. Get your notebook out, or your homework, because I want to show you your book.